What is up, McManus MMA fan? We are back with another full card recap of Gregory Rodrigues versus Anthony Hernandez that just concluded just now. Honestly, this was one of the best fight night cards of the year. This was a really, really, really great card. And I think capping it off with this really amazing main event helped it a lot. Um, I do think the Serbia card is also up there as one of the best fight night cards of the year, but this one is definitely up in the running, man. It had some really awesome, excellent moments. Um, and let's talk about all of them. So starting with the main event, Anthony Hernandez versus Gregory Rodrigues. Rodrigues gets it done by unanimous decision. I don't think anybody thought this was going to happen, including me. I thought that it was either going to be RoboCop by round 1 or 2 TKO, or Hernandez by whatever he wanted after that. And actually, it was kind of looking like it was going to be that for a little bit there. I had RoboCop started off really, really great in round 1. He, I thought, landed the better strikes and also defended all of the takedowns in round 1. Round 2, he he starts chopping the low kick, which really hurts Hernandez and dropped him, I think, 3 times in that round. Um, and started putting it on him, and it was like looking like, oh shoot, here we go, here comes RoboCop finish in round 2. Um, and then round 3, it really was the switch. I thought Hernandez kind of got the best of a lot of the situations, was able to get a takedown and kind of get RoboCop in the positions he needed him to be. Went for a couple submissions, wasn't able to get it, but RoboCop's takedown defense was amazing in this fight. It was really, really impressive. And then I just had RoboCop kind of walking him down the next 2 rounds and taking it by unanimous decision. I had it 49-46. But one thing I would like to say about both these guys' game plans, I thought RoboCop's game plan was really great in moments. He got the best on the feet, was able to defend all of the takedowns. However, he succeeded a lot when he was pressuring forward off of the cage, but a lot of the time when Hernandez would get the best of these situations or be able to shoot a takedown, obviously it didn't land, but he would be able to shoot a takedown and clear as day, and it would kind of be coming to a little clinch war, was when he was always backing up. He was always backing up to the cage, kind of just resting by the cage, which I thought if he were to lose this fight, I would have said that was the reason he lost the fight. But it really wasn't. It was just like that was my one takeaway is that he backs up to the cage too much, and let Hernandez put a lot of the pressure on. Which I think if he were to be putting the pressure on Hernandez the entire time, I think he could have finished Hernandez. I really do. I think he could have. And what Hernandez really needed to do this entire fight was use these shoddy takedown attempts where he's able to get up on a single leg or something like that to initiate the clinch and get into a couple elbows because Hernandez succeeded in the brawls and in the clinches. I thought that that's where he needed to be. Obviously, there's some moments where Rodrigues really stung him on the feet, and I can understand, like, yeah, this guy's got crazy knockout power. I don't want to stand in front of this guy. But that's really where he needed to be, was in the clinch, up really, really close, so that you don't have to worry about the low kicks. You can stand southpaw. You don't have to stand orthodox. Um, that was my main takeaway from Hernandez, and why I think Hernandez lost this fight is because he was relying so much on the takedowns as a method to get Rodrigues to the ground to get the fight where he wanted to be, and when it wasn't that way, he kind of just was lost, especially when his power forward leg was chewed up and he had to switch stances. He really kind of looked lost, and I feel bad because I do love Fluffy. I think Fluffy's awesome, and I'm rooting for him in his next fight. I'm always rooting for Fluffy. He's a really easy guy to like, but I do have a soft spot for RoboCop. I love RoboCop. I mean, he's been awesome for a long time, but the moment that he sold me was when I was sitting in the stands all by my lonesome at UFC 317, and he slept Jack Hermanson so bad that they were getting ready for the next fight, and Hermanson was just now being wheeled out, and it was like, oh shoot. But great win for RoboCop. Really, really great win for him. What's next for RoboCop? He called out DDP. I do not like that fight at all. I don't want to see that fight. Sorry, I don't. I think that I would rather see Brendan Allen versus DDP. I think um that's just a better fight. Um but what's next for RoboCop? Hmm, I really do not know. It could be a Joe Pyfer if the Kyle Braulio fight is not happening. It could be a Joe Pyfer, two power punches against each other. If the Braulio fight does not go through, mm, I could see that. Because right now we have Strickland champion. I think Imavov gets the next shot, no questions asked. Chimaev says he wants the rematch. I don't want to see that. I would rather see Chimaev. I don't know. He should have moved up at this point. Drickus could fight Brennan Allen, and I think if they don't do Pyfer Braulio, then do Pyfer Rodrigues. And for Anthony Hernandez, do a Christian Leroy Duncan fight. Do kind of a layup like that because I think Hernandez would dog walk um, a CLD. So this was an awesome main event. Co-main event: Sergey Spivak versus Vitor Petrino. Petrino gets it done unanimous decision. I thought he won all 3 rounds. Um, Spivak looked gun shy. He really looked gun shy and just allowed Petrino to really dictate where this fight went. Petrino was chopping the low kick the entire time, was able to get his takedowns and just kind of hold Spivak down, got full mount really easily a couple times, and was able to just land some ground and pound here and there. Um, but Vitor Petrino controlled this fight start to finish. And I feel bad because I love Spivak, bro. I love the polar bear. And now Petrino is number 6 in the ranking. And all this tells me is that if Steven Asplin were to beat a Vitor Petrino, that Steven Asplin would be number 6 in the world because I think a Steven Asplin would have beaten a Sergey Spivak. Um, so this is just a Steven Asplin upscale at this point. I'm not crazy on Petrino. I think most of these guys up top in this division would really run through him. Um, and I feel bad for Spivak. I don't know what's next for either of these guys. Um, for Petrino, heavyweight is such an interesting division right now. You could give him because Volkov's booked, Pavlovich is not booked, Gon Aspinall should be happening, Pereira Hoka should be happening, Kuniev is booked, Cortez Acosta is booked. I don't know. Curtis Blades is booked. I don't know what you do. Maybe a Pericic Petrino. I don't know, man. I really don't know what's next for either of these guys because the heavyweight is so booked and we don't know what's going on up there. But good win for Vito Petrino. I picked Sergey. I picked Petrino. I did pick Petrino, but I said Spivak was a crafty pick. All right, this was everybody with Down syndromes. Like this was the Down syndrome fight of the night. No diss to people with Down syndrome, but Roman Dolidze is the worst fighter I've ever seen in my entire life. His IQ is negative. Fight starts, immediately pulls guard on Reiner de Ritter. And the entire fight was de Ritter standing on top of him and landing ground and pound while kind of avoiding the leg entanglements that Dolidze was trying to do. There were moments where he was looking at the ref. It was Frank Trigg was the ref, looking at him going, "What else do you want me to do? What else do you want me to do?" Like I'm just sitting on top of him. I've landed 106 strikes on this guy's head, and he hasn't done anything. He threw one significant strike. Cut Dolidze. De Ritter, he said everybody and anybody can get it at light heavyweight. I mean, you're ranked really low. You could give him a Bogdan Guzgov at this point. Give him a Bogdan Guzgov. I think that would make a lot of sense. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. Give him a Bogdan Guzgov. Dolidze, cut him. I don't want to see him ever fight ever again. Carly Judice goes out there. That's why she's the GOAT. The GOAT. Um, I thought she found the best of the exchanges on the feet, and really early on, before the 1 minute and 39-second mark, she threw a teep to the body that hurt Chavez really bad. Like you could kind of see her shell up and clinch up, and I was like, oh, that really hurt her. She should do that again. And then like a minute later, she hits it again, and she just crumbles, and that was the fight. And it was like, yeah, obviously, you know, I picked Carly Judice by. I think I said decision to be safe, but I said a TKO could have definitely happened. So good for her. And she's at women's flyweight. So realistically, you could give her just about anybody in the top 15. It does not matter. Um, it does not matter at all. It doesn't matter to me at all. Jessica Chavez, you got a teep to the body, my friend. This was not on the main card, but I'm. Oh, does Google have this all messed up? Yes, it does. It doesn't have half of the fights. Okay, that's actually awesome. Hold on, we'll pause and we'll be right back. This was the the next fight on the main card, or the first fight on the main card, was Anthony Wint versus Terrence Chapman. Honestly, I'm gonna say not a great win. Not a great win. Anthony Wint took his time. They both landed straight punches on one another, and then Anthony Wint got the double leg takedown, was able to get on top. Chapman did threaten the Kimura, and had it for. He just needed to move his body a little bit more, and he could have really gotten that, but wasn't really able to get it. And Wint kind of just stalled out and landed some puny punches to the belly until he was able to lock up the arm triangle and submitted Chapman with very little time left to go. And honestly, he was talking about like, "Oh, I'm a problem. I'm a problem, T Wood. I'm a problem, T Wood." Like he was talking like prime Kamaru Usman out there, and it was like, really, man? Listen, was this on 11 days' notice? Yes. So that is very impressive, but not that impressive, man. I'm gonna be honest, not that impressive. We're also missing another fight that was on the main card. We'll go up and talk about that because that was an awesome fight. But yeah, Anthony Wayne gets the win. Wasn't super impressed, is what I'll say. We went over Markel Medeiros versus Mason Jones because what a fight this was, man. This was an awesome fight. I had Mason Jones taking round one. Dude was getting tore up by the kicks, man. He was getting tore up by the kicks. Um, did land a low kick of his own that did look like it hurt Medeiros, but I had him win round one. I thought he, again, dude, this Welsh blockhead. And then round two, man, it's just a brawl. And Medeiros made such a great um, change to his game into round two with the elbows. That won him the fight. He would get in for the clinch, elbow, 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 and that's really what took Mason Jones out of this fight. Slumped him against the cage, elbow, elbow, knocked him out standing. It was a TKO against the cage for Medeiros. Had Mason Jones kind of, when you're really drunk and you're taking a piss and you kind of lean forward and hit the front of the wall by the toilet. That's kind of what he did, but like backwards. Like he was kind of sitting there like, buh. I don't know how to explain it. Buh. That's the noise he made. And I'm really sad to see Mason Jones lose because this dude is awesome. But again, he's never put on a non-entertaining fight, and this was an awesome fight. So I can't complain. And now Markel Medeiros is now ranked, or he wants a ranked opponent in lightweight. Because I do agree, if Mason Jones would have won this fight, they would have given him a, you know, I mean, who's ranked in like a Grant Dawson or even even a Fazeev Jones, that would have been awesome. But now Medeiros wants the top 15 opponents, so I you could give it to him, or you could give him one more like just outside the rankings guy. But this was an awesome fight. Main card was awesome, and then, bro, Leary and Douglas gets fraud checked. I don't like saying fraud check, but this really was a fraud check. Joel Emmers, bro, he's so crafty. I said in my video, I swear I did. I said, I'm picking Larry and Douglas by round one TKO, but Jamal Emmers is really crafty. And Larry and Douglas, bro, he gets hit with a straight one. I think it was a 1-2, and it was a straight right down the pipe, down the middle. And it hit him kind of by the orbital bone, and he just covered up and crumbled down, and that was it. So he really kind of got fraud checked, man. And that was him and Mason Jones. That's why you ruined my parlay. That's why they call you the N-word. That's why they say you worse than Hitler. That's really what happened. Um, but Leary Douglas gets fraud checked, and I'm sad because I do love the gunslinger, man. I'm sad to see him go like this. He'll be back. He'll be back, no questions asked. But man, Jamal Emmers, that's a great win. Let's talk about this though. Oh yeah, we love you, buddy. We're gonna talk about you. Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Shamil Gaziev, bro. Shamil, beautiful Shamil. Kennedy Nzechukwu threw this fight so hard. First of all, he does look like 50 Cent. Um, Second of all, coming out against Shamil with your hands all the way down and turning away from the punch, he gets slimed out immediately. Feet off the ground, flying. Boom. Seatbelts. Everybody had their seatbelts on their seat. Boom, 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 boom. and Shamil gets a round one KO. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. Thank you, Shamil Gaziev. Thank you, Shamil Gaziev. Shamil gets it done, man. And this brought a this brought such a smile across my face, man. I don't even know how to explain the smile that came across my face. I was clapping the straight right that landed. Oh my gosh. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was perfect. Shamil Gaziev gets it done, man. I'm so happy for him. Um, Congrats to Shamil, bro. We love you. Crispity and Nasser Hopper, this fight was awesome. First of all, booing the first like this fight, they're like boo boo. Why are they not throwing very many strikes? I mean, the first round was very technical. I had Crispity win round one. Round two, I had Crispity win. And I was like, this is looking like it's gonna be a Crispity, decision win. Round three, Crispity starts teeing off on him and really hurts him bad, and then gets him against the cage and just locks up a standing arm triangle, tosses him down, and chokes him out at the buzzer. And they count it by submission. So this was a crazy fight. I guess, dude, his parents really do own a bakery. Yeah, man, this was a pretty awesome fight, man. It wasn't as awesome as I thought it was gonna be, but this was still an awesome fight. Very, very, good for Chris Padilla, bro. I was saying, man, I think this guy's gonna win, bro. I think he's gonna win. Um, and I picked him to win by decision, but he gets it done by submission, man. I'll take it. Awesome fight, bro. Weirdest knockout I've ever seen. Marcio Barboza just hits him, just kind of glances the top of his head with his right hand, and it sits him down against the cage, and he kind of just flattens his body out, and he puts his hands up, and his eyes are looking to the side, and Barboza knew. He's like, he's done, man. Nothing I can do about this. And they call it first real punch that was landed by Barboza, I would say. It wasn't even a real punch. It was just like a glancing shot. I don't even know how to describe it. It was so strange. It was just this left hook, I think it was, that just glanced the top of his head, and he was down and out. Um, yeah, man, crazy, crazy win, great win for Marcio Barboza. I said that was gonna happen. Gage Young versus Stan Dorsonville, bro. Kind of a great performance by Stan Dorsonville, bro. Gage Young looked excellent round one. I was going, man, he's getting the better of him. He was hurting him on the feet really bad. Um, yeah, I had him win round one candidly. Round two, however, things started to change. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know the significant strike numbers are even, but this was clearly a Stan Dorsonville round. However, it may look like, how did he lose his fight? It looked like he won round three. If you watch this fight, the damage and everything that was happening, all of the big moments that the judges look at and go, "Oh yeah, look like it was him." That was all Dorsonville, all Dorsonville, in my opinion. Um, but it was honestly a really good performance. Not a great performance, not like a really good. Gage Young he's a good fighter, but and I thought that he was gonna TKO him early in this fight. I thought, man, Gage Young's looking good. He knocked out what, Eric Grant, but he should have knocked out Moises, but he didn't, and loses one to Dorsonville, who takes this fight and gets it done. So good win. No, bro, my crafty underdog pick of Wes Schultz. It was so close, man. It was so close. My round one submission by Wes Schultz was so close. He locked it up. He locked up the front choke. It was there. It was there. One thing I will say is the second that Jackson McVeigh got out of the choke, it was clear to me that Wes Schultz cannot strike at all. He has no idea how to throw a punch. It really was watching two high school. It was like a high school girl fight, like her ex-boyfriend. Wes Schultz cannot strike, and Jackson McVeigh just throws a knee up the middle that hits his body as he goes kind of for a takedown, and it crumples him, and that was the fight. Jackson McVeigh won on the feet, but dude, I was so close to having that crafty Wes Schultz submission pick. I was so close. But that's all right. I was close enough to the point where I was like, hey, you can see where I'm coming from. Wes Schultz does suck, and apparently Jackson McVeigh, beating Cedric Dumas apparently is a bigger feat than we might have thought. First fight of the night, man. Chanel Dyer. Terrible cornering by Elise Reed, by the way. Chanel Dyer was absolutely beating the brakes off of her in round one, beating the brakes off of her. Round two, beat the ever living hell out of her. And then in the corner, going into round three, Elise Reed's corner says, "Is that all you got? Like, is that everything?" And she goes, "Yeah." And they're like, "Are you want to call it?" And she goes, "Yeah." And they go, "All right, go in there. Have fun, man. Have fun. Bye. Have fun." And they let her in there, and she just crumbles against the cage. Not really crumbles, but just kind of stood there as Chanel Dyer just 1-2 Bobby Knuckle, 1-2 head kick, 1-2 head kick, 1-2 head kick, 1-1-1-1, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Just beat the brakes off of her against the fence, and they had to call it. So great win for Chanel Dyer. I picked Chanel Dyer by TKO in the first round. She gets it done in the third. I picked Wes Schultz by submission in the first round. Jackson McVeigh wins. I picked Gage Young by decision. He loses by decision. I picked Barboza by round one KO. He gets it done. I picked Chris Padilla by decision. He gets it done by submission in the very end of the fight. Great win. I picked Shamil Gaziev, man. I picked Shamil Gaziev by round two TKO. He gets it done in a minute, bro. I picked Lyrian Douglas by round one KO, and he gets slimed out in one. I picked Anthony Wint by round one KO. He gets it done by submission. I picked Carly Judice by decision, I think. She gets it done by round one KO. I picked Mason Jones by round two TKO or decision. He gets standing KO'd, bro. Dang it. I picked Reiner de Ritter by round one finish. I think I said submission, but that's fine. He gets it done by KO. I picked Petrino by round two TKO, I think, or by decision. I think I had it down as TKO, but he gets it done by decision. And I picked RoboCop by round two TKO, and he gets it done by decision. So, all in all, my picks, I went 5-6 in the main card and 4-7 on the prelims. So not terrible. We did all right. But this was I had a really good time watching this card, man. This was a great card. Um, and now I got to go to work in like 7 hours. So Contender Series on Tuesday. I'll do my recap on that, and then we have the China card, which I'm actually really excited for. I'll be waking up at 3 in the morning to watch that. So until then, see you. Bye.